All of a sudden, I opened the papers and he'd been killed.
In the world of music, there are moments etched in history that change everything. One such moment happened on a chilly night in Clear Lake, Iowa, back in 1959. It's a story that begins with three young stars of rock and roll: Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. They were on a tour across the Midwest, bringing their music to eager fans. But what started as a journey of fame and music unfortunately didn't go as planned. Buddy Holly was a young, pioneering musician from Lubbock, Texas. Born Charles Hardin Holly on September 7, 1936, he quickly rose to fame with his band, the Crickets. That Will Be the Day, and Peggy Sue. Buddy Holly's innovative style and use of the guitar influenced countless future rock stars. He was one of the first musicians to write and perform his own songs, setting a new standard in the music industry. Ritchie Valens was born Richard Stephen Valenzuela on May 13, 1941, in Pacoima, California. Despite his short career, Valens made a significant impact on rock and roll with his unique blend of rock and Latin music. His hits La Bamba and Donna showcased his talent and brought him widespread acclaim. Valens was one of the first Hispanic artists to achieve mainstream success in the United States, paving the way for future generations. Giles Perry J.P. Richardson, known as the Big Bopper, was born on October 24, 1930, in Sabine Pass, Texas. Before his career in music, Richardson was a popular DJ and songwriter. He became famous with his catchy hit Chantilly Lace, which highlighted his larger-than-life personality. The Big Bopper was not just a performer, but also a creative mind who helped shape the early rock and roll sound. Each of these musicians brought something unique to the table. Buddy Holly's innovative guitar techniques and songwriting set a new standard in rock and roll. Ritchie Valens blended rock with traditional Latin music, creating a fresh, exciting sound. The Big Bopper's energetic performances and humorous lyrics added a fun, lively dimension to rock and roll. Together, they represented the diverse and evolving landscape of the early rock and roll era. In January 1959, Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper embarked on the Winter Dance Party Tour. This tour was a series of performances across the Midwest designed to bring the excitement of rock and roll to smaller towns and cities. The tour also included Holly's new band members, Waylon Jennings, Tommy Allsup, and Carl Bunch. From the start, the tour faced numerous challenges. The schedule was grueling, with performances almost every night and long bus rides between cities. The buses were old and not equipped for the harsh winter weather. Musicians often found themselves traveling in freezing conditions without adequate heating, leading to extreme discomfort and illness. The relentless, cold, and exhausting schedule took a toll on the performers. Drummer Carl Bunch suffered frostbite and had to be hospitalized, highlighting the severe conditions they endured. After a particularly rough journey to Clear Lake, Iowa, Buddy Holly decided to charter a small plane to fly to their next stop in Moorhead, Minnesota. The goal was to get some much-needed rest and avoid another long, freezing bus ride. Holly arranged for a Beechcraft Bonanza plane, piloted by 21-year-old Roger Peterson. Originally, the plane was meant to carry Holly and his bandmates. In a twist of fate, Ritchie Valens won his seat in a coin toss with Tommy Allsup, and Waylon Jennings gave up his seat to the Big Bopper, who was feeling unwell. On the night of February 2nd, 1959, after finishing their performance at the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa, Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper prepared for their flight. The weather was poor, with light snow and strong winds, but the young musicians were eager to get to their next destination and escape the freezing bus rides. The plane they chartered was a Beechcraft Bonanza, a small aircraft piloted by 21-year-old Roger Peterson. Peterson was an experienced pilot but had limited experience flying with instruments only, which would be crucial given the weather conditions that night. Shortly after midnight on February 3rd, 1959, the plane took off from Mason City Municipal Airport. Despite the poor weather, the musicians and their pilot were hopeful for a quick, smooth flight to Moorhead, Minnesota. Just minutes after takeoff, the plane encountered difficulties. Struggling with the snowy conditions and lack of visibility, Peterson lost control of the aircraft. The plane crashed into a cornfield about 6 miles northwest of the airport, tragically ending the lives of Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, the Big Bopper, and Roger Peterson.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin. 3 young singers who soared to the heights of show business on the current rock and roll craze were killed today in the crash of a light plane in an Iowa snow flurry. The singers were identified as Ritchie Valens, 17, Buddy Holly, 22, and J.P. Richardson, known professionally as the Big Bopper. The aircraft, chartered from the Dwyer Flying Service, crashed near Mason City, ironically the setting for the prominent musical The Music Man. The pilot, Roger Peterson of Clear Lake, Iowa, was also killed. The 3 singers had appeared at the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa last night and were on their way to Fargo, North Dakota. Their small chartered plane crashed in a lonely farmyard about 15 miles northwest of Mason City. Cause of the crash was due to inclement weather conditions.